All right, so right now, a lot of people, they're coming out to their nesting boxes, and when they open them, they're finding something that looks similar to this. There's lots of variables for a reason why your nesting box could look like this. It could be anywhere from the sunlight, your nutrition, so what you feed them, do they have access to fresh daily water, the age of your chicken, how young, how old. There's lots of things that it can be, so I just felt like I should talk about this today. So in one of my recent videos where I was talking about the egg prices and why they're rising, I got tons and tons of comments, and I am still today getting tons and tons of comments. These comments kept talking about that they're putting stuff in the chicken feed or manipulating the feed so that their chickens are not laying. And we just kept getting flooded with these comments all over the place talking about the chicken feed. Since I saw all these comments about chicken feed and chickens not laying, I thought I would give you guys my opinion on what's going on in the situation, along with other reasons why your chickens might not be laying. Get a Great Pyrenees if you don't have one. They'll make sure that no predators are coming to get your chickens. So let's talk about this big thing going around about chicken feed causing their birds not to lay. A lot of you guys have been asking us our opinion on this whole situation, and I'll start it off by saying that we personally have never fed our birds any kind of Tractor Supply. I know that's the main company coming out right now, but if you think about it, I think it's Dumore, Purina, those kind of brands, and that's not what we've been feeding our chickens. So this isn't some personal story that we have big experience with, and I want you guys to make sure that you know that before I start talking on this subject. Because we don't have much experience, I'm not going to tell you that I 100% know what's going on. What I do know is that there's lots of people out now saying stories that they fed their chickens this feed, their chickens haven't been laying, they switched their feeds, and then all of a sudden their chickens are laying now. If you're asking me straight up on my opinion on what I think is true and what's not true, and you're asking me do I think that these companies are messing with the feed, let me just put it this way. It wouldn't surprise me if some major company was messing around with the feed to cut cost, and then there being less protein now in the feed, and that's the reason the birds aren't laying. It wouldn't surprise me if they put anything inside the feed and then they were trying to make sure that the chickens aren't laying. Those things would not be like breaking news in my head and be like, wow, I never thought. Honestly, I could see it happening. And there's a lot of people saying that that's what's going on, and I feel like as soon as more and more stories come out about it, it's hard not to believe that it's possibly true. There, now, I got the big one out of the way. Let me get into the other reasons why you might see nesting boxes with 0 eggs inside them today. So the first reason you might be coming out to a nesting box with 0 eggs in for the day is the time of year that it is. And right now it is winter time. No matter what, you're probably having a drop in egg production. It is normal for your chickens during the winter time to have some kind of molt going on where they're not gonna lay eggs. And that's perfectly normal if that's what's going on. We have 14 laying hens. We probably get a dozen at least during the spring, if not all 14 of them laying. For the winter time, we've been getting about 6 eggs a day. So it's almost the production cut in half. And the main reasons why wintertime does that is 2 main things. Days are shorter. You're gonna have less sunlight. A chicken needs about 14 hours of sunlight for them to lay an egg. That's not for all breeds, but for maximum peak laying egg production, you're gonna want 14 hours for your chickens. So what people try to do is they'll put an artificial light inside the coop, and that artificial light will actually lower your chicken's laying years. Your chicken has like the amount of eggs it's gonna lay during its whole lifespan. So let's say it's gonna lay for 6 years. And the more artificial light that you give them throughout those years, it's gonna get shorter and shorter, where they might stop laying after 3 years of having them instead of them laying for 6 years that you own them. So a thing to think of before you start doing it, because I know there's people out there that are doing that. And the second thing that winter does to your chicken is it's just its natural time of rest. Hens, especially, are the mama bird, right? What it's doing is that instead of laying eggs, it takes that rest period so that when the spring comes, they can start laying eggs again and get ready to hatch out their babies. Even if you don't own a rooster, it's just a natural cycle for a hen, and that's why you might be seeing less eggs also during the wintertime. And the second thing is nutrition. So this goes with food and water. Obviously, we already talked about this already with the feed, that we don't really need to go into it, but not causing chickens to lay. So that's why it's very important that you make sure that these chickens are getting everything they need. Right now, luckily for us, our feed has been sufficient for them. We were mixing our own feed at one point, and I feel like I'm gonna make a video about this, but we've chosen to shy away from that for right now because we think we found a better system for it. I think I'll explain this in a video, since I know there's a lot of people watching our chicken feed video, which go ahead and feed them those. They're gonna do good on that diet as well. But what we do is mix a meat bird feed, which has 22% protein. That'll help them stay warmer during the winter time. And then we'll do, it's called Hen's House Reserve. and I'll try to pull these up on the screen as I talk about it. That one has a lot of just real pieces of food inside it, which we like. We'll mix those two feeds, and we've been having some pretty good luck here this winter time with our eggs. Make sure that their diet's doing good, because that'll definitely help them lay. And then make sure they have access to daily water. And I know this sounds like a very simple thing, but during the winter time and water's freezing and it's cold and you don't want to come out here, it's a thing that some people just like, oh, well, you know, my chickens will survive if I just switch it out every other day or give them a little bit here. Eggs, I forgot the number, maybe they're like 70%, 80% is made up of water. Having water in their diet is very important to them for laying. If you ferment their food, that'll help get them water, so that's a thing you can do, but water is important as well. The next thing, so there is a lot of new people owning chickens right now, and age is a big factor in what you're seeing. Huh? The solar light, it's like, is it dark, is it not? It keeps flickering behind me here. Your chicken's age plays a huge role into this. So chickens, when you first bring them home, the one thing you really want to see from them is eggs. And you start to get a little impatient, but it takes at least 4 months for chicken breeds to start laying their first egg. And for some breeds, I think it's up to like 8 months. So that's a big gap. So just a thing to think about, maybe your chickens just haven't started laying yet, they're brand new still. But once your chickens start laying, especially the new chickens, they like to just start rocking out those eggs. At least that's what we've been witnessing. So we went through the young ones, now the old chickens. A chicken, as soon as they hit about 3 years old, their egg production is gonna be almost cut in half at that point. So if you already have your egg production cut in half, and that's during like peak time, when this winter time hits, then they really might not start laying. So chickens that are experiencing their second, third, fourth winter time, just beware that maybe you're gonna get a little less eggs. Right now, our first set of chickens, we got them during the winter time when they kind of started laying. So this is kind of like their second-ish winter, but almost kind of their first, depending on like their laying time. And then our second flock that we mixed in with these guys, this is their very first winter. So right now, egg production hasn't been that bad for us. But maybe this coming next winter time, if we don't have any new chickens, then I can maybe report back to you guys and see. But right now we've had a good winter time, and I think that's normal for what kind of year they're in. Just another thing to think about with your old chickens. And then just some of the last few things that could be going on with your chicken. It's probably not happening during the winter time, but if a chicken is broody, so they're sitting on eggs trying to hatch them out, they're not gonna lay during that period of time. If they're really sick or just not doing good nutrition-wise and just feeling ill, they have some kind of illness or going on, some kind of disease, then your chicken is not gonna be laying during those situations as well. You need to think of it that if a chicken's body ever needs to fight anything else off, they use all that energy and nutrients to try to fight those things off instead of lay an egg. And that's kind of why chickens may or may not be laying. I know that everyone wants to come out and they want to see nesting boxes that are just full of eggs, especially when you just had a spring or summer where you felt like you were just getting loaded with eggs, all your chickens were laying. And when that production gets cut in half, it's a big drop in how many eggs that you're collecting, especially if you've been selling any of these eggs or you're just using them for your family and now you don't know if you have enough. So it is a thing to think about, and that's why I think that it's important for everyone to know the other reasons as well. I know it's been a big topic going on, so I figured I would just kind of explain other things that can happen, and hopefully it helps somebody out. You guys have a great day and a better tomorrow, and we'll see you guys in the next one.